Welcome back to this week's episode of Success and Women. I'm Linda B, and as you can see, my co-host Andrea is not here today again. But hopefully she is going to be joining us next week. Oh, and before we start, I just wanted to say, ladies, when you find something and you really like it, you want to share it with other people. Well, at least that's the way I am. I want to tell the world, I want to share something that I've discovered. And if you've noticed, I'm wearing this red lipstick, and I love red and I love pink. But anyway, this particular red lipstick is a new brand for me. And one of my colleagues, his wife was wearing it, and I had to find out what she was wearing because it looks so pretty on her. And actually, it does look better on her than it does on me, but I really like it. It's from Sephora, and it's the red lipstick, and I plan to get the pink one. So hopefully, in the near future, I can share at least what I think about the pink one. But for now, this is nice. It, stays on. You always want lipstick that stays on. So anyway, I had to share that with you. So Sephora lipstick today. Anyway, today we're going to talk about letting go. Are there things in your life that's holding you back, but it's really because you're holding on to it instead of letting go? Maybe somebody did something wrong, a colleague, maybe, it was a friend, something in your life that have happened, and it could have been many years ago, but you're still holding on to it. You're still maybe holding a grudge towards somebody. Do you know that the person that you're upset with, they don't even know that you are upset? They're going about their life. Meanwhile, that thing is eating up in you and preventing you from moving forward. You may not even realize that the stress you have in your life is partly due to the things that you're holding on to. And why are you holding on to them? Is it serving any purpose? I mean, really? If there's something that you're upset about or a grudge or whatever, the fact is it's still there. It's not going to change. But is it impacting your life? Well, if you let it go, it probably wouldn't be impacting your life. The fact that you're holding on to it, you're not realizing is actually doing more damage to you than to anybody else. And for the most part, people don't even know that you're upset. One of the things that I've learned is that I can't change anybody. And I can't control anybody. I can only change myself. And the older I get, the more I realize that I kind of let life happen in the sense of, if people do things and that's what they want to do, it's their choice, it's their life. It may not be what I want to do. It may not be my choice, but I'm trying to live my life to the fullest. So I've had things happen in my life where a very good friend, and actually this has happened several times, I could look inside and say, yeah, there's something wrong with me. And maybe there is. But regardless of whether or not there's something wrong with me, the fact is I can't change the other people. But if I hold on to the anger, the upset, the only one I'm hurting now is me. Because it's on my mind, it's in my subconscious, it's preventing me from moving forward maybe in other relationships. So now, if somebody doesn't want to be my friend, regardless of whether or not I was at fault, they were at fault, we were both at fault, if they choose not to want to talk to me anymore and not want to be my friend, that's their loss, not mine, because I'm going to live my life to the fullest regardless of whether or not they're in it. But on the other hand, if they ever wanted to come back into my life, I don't hold any grudges. Anything and everything that's happened in the past is going to stay in the past. Anything that happens today and going forward in the future, then that's the future. Now, if there's toxic relationships that you have in your life, I'm not talking about, bringing them back in your life. But I am suggesting that maybe you want to let go of whatever was bothering you regarding that relationship. If there's a lesson you can learn, that's always great, because in life, we're going to have many failures. Personally, business-wise, employment-wise, just life is about learning and growing. And how can you learn and grow if you never make a mistake, if you never fail at anything? So what I'm suggesting is that let that stuff go. But don't bring back the toxic people in your life. If they're going to harm you and bring you down, you don't want that. And you don't need that. I was listening to something recently on the radio, and I may quote Dr. Laura a lot, but I do enjoy listening to her program because she's got so much wisdom and common sense. And somewhere along the way, I think a lot of people have lost their common sense, and I'm not sure why, but I think there's a way to get it back. And if you listen to her, you'll understand what I'm talking about. But there was a lady calling, and partly she was calling to get an explanation on how she can handle a situation. And the other reason she was calling was actually to thank Dr. Laura, because she realized that she had been doing some damage in her marriage and her relationship with her spouse, because she was hanging out with her girlfriends. And she said a lot of times when her girlfriends and her would get together, they were constantly bashing their men. And I mean that figuratively, not literally bashing them, but those men didn't understand that these women would go and complain about them all the time. And they may have been wonderful men, but the women were always finding fault with their husbands and or partners. Anyway, to the point where this lady would come home and then she'd be mean to her husband. Not that he deserved it, but just because after an outing with the friends, she got influenced to that point to do the man bashing herself. And so for the longest time, her marriage was starting to go really south. And she picked up one of Dr. Laura's book, The Proper Care and Feeding of Husbands, and learned if you do certain things in your relationship, whether it's reciprocated or not, eventually things will start to turn around. If they don't, the marriage wasn't there anyway. So that's one thing you have to deal with. But when you have a relationship that actually started off good and you decided to be mean for whatever reason that you did, this isn't a good thing for a relationship. And I mean, I'm talking about any relationship, because you can have the same thing happen at work. You could have a co-worker that's mean all the time and argumentative, and you feel like you're being put down all the time. But you can't reciprocate that back. It's not a tit for tat. And so this lady, after reading the book, decided that she would start being nice and start doing a lot of nice things for her husband. And now the problem was she was having, the problem wasn't the fact that her relationship was changing and it was starting to become very good. What she was calling Dr. Laura about was the fact that now, she said, she felt like she didn't know how to say or come back with a line to her friends and even her mother-in-law when they would bash their husbands. And it's one of those things about letting go, because if the husband even realized that the wife had been, I'll say, man bashing him all these years, if he didn't want to let that go, he could have a bad marriage and or a divorce. instead, and this is the great thing about men, they're very easy in most ways to please, because for the most part, women have that in their control. And so if you want a really loving husband, most of the time you just have to be loving to them, and they're quite happy with that, and they'll do anything for you. Well, anyway, in this case, the husband let everything go that happened in the past. The wife didn't know how to have a comeback. And what Dr. Laura said was, I'm sorry that your man is not really, good, or he's whatever, but my darling husband is wonderful. And even, when they say, meeting up, she said sometimes they will insult her because the husband's not there shopping with her. And Dr. Laura just says, oh, my darling husband does so many wonderful things that he's doing other things for me at home, or whatever way you want to explain it. But always come back with the darling husband, my wonderful husband, whatever, because you can change your own environment. You can't change others. But maybe by seeing how happy you are and the relationship you have, that you, the person man bashing, might turn around and say, geez, well, she's got a good husband, like maybe mine isn't so bad, and start looking for ways to make it better in your own relationship. Letting go of all the crap that was holding this relationship to a new level back, because maybe you were just learning because your parents had a bad relationship. Maybe you were a child of a divorced couple and they were fighting all the time, and you just believe that that's normal, and you don't know how to have a very good, stable, and happy relationship. One of the things to do is look at other people that do have good relationships. And it's really interesting. One of my friends was telling me yesterday, actually, that she was married, for quite a while, but she's been widowed for 22 years this summer, 22 years already. But she said, I have so many wonderful memories of my husband. He was such a wonderful man, and he would have done anything for me. And she said, on top of all of that, she said he was such a gentleman, which is a lot that we don't seem to see anymore. And part of it was because of the women's movement and women wanting to become independent. But I don't think most of us women wanted to become so independent that we lost chivalry. I think it's nice when men open the doors for us and, walk on the outside when they're walking with us on the road or on a sidewalk and stuff. It's so rare to see that anymore. But having a good relationship with your colleagues, your children, your husband, your partner, is so important, by letting go of all the past crap that you've been keeping inside you, thinking it was doing some good. Meanwhile, it was holding you back from having a happier life. And I started off by saying, as I've gotten older, I've gotten into the position now where I don't sweat the small stuff. And in life, I find most things are small stuff, because we have such a short life that we have to make the most of every day. And so I don't hold on to things. I don't hold on to grudges. And sometimes even my friends will say, how can you not be mad at them? You know what? Everybody, I think, are good deep down, and they do the best that they can. But they've got things going on in their life that we don't always understand. And sometimes just giving somebody a hug and just saying, I'm there for you. And it's funny because I was talking to my friend, and she was going through a situation because she's got children and grandchildren. And she was talking about how right now at this stage of her life, she just feels like she can't handle it all. Sometimes she just feels overwhelmed. And I said to her, because I've never had children, so obviously I don't have any grandchildren, I said, I don't know exactly what you're going through. But I said, I'm here to listen. I'm here if you want to vent. Because I said, in the end, you just have to let it go. And one of the things that I suggested, which I always try to suggest to people, communicate. So I said, talk to your son. Things can't change without you having open communication. You can't just let people walk over you or accept that they know that you'll just do these things, but then inside you get so stressed out that you get upset. This isn't a good way to live your life. And she knows it. And the thing is, talking it out normally will come to some kind of conclusion. So if there's things, ladies, that you're holding on to, maybe it's time now to let it go. Find a way. Maybe you're going to go off, meditate for a while, think about all of these things that you've been holding on to. And then kind of like if you have a balloon, blow it up and let it go. Get a match and blow it out and just say, listen, that part of my life is over. It doesn't hold any bearing today in how I live and how I choose to live and how I want to live the rest of my life. Because remember, as Dr. Laura always says, between now and dead, this is in your control and your choice. Make your life every day count and help you to keep succeeding in whatever it is that you're trying to succeed in. Because success is what you want out of life. And it's your version of success, not anybody else. It has nothing to do with money or anything else, but your happiness in the end makes all the difference of how successful you really are. So ladies, until next week, I hope you enjoyed the episode. Again, share, like, and please subscribe. And we'll see you soon.